Within the service dog community, many people often argue that if a person is able to function without a service dog, that they don't need a service dog, or that they're somehow less legitimate. And I have to disagree with this for a few reasons. For one, we have enough problems with the public in general, questioning especially invisible or hidden disabilities. And as a community, we don't need to be jumping down each other's throats and making things more stressful for each other than they already are. I've referred to this as disability elitism in the past, which when I'm talking about that, I'm talking about people who feel the need to attack others because they perceive that that person's not as disabled as they are. People who are, for example, a person who says, well, I'm in a wheelchair, therefore I am more disabled than you, or, they put other people down because of this. Everybody relax. We can all be disabled. There's no need to jump down each other's throats because they function different than you. At this point, I would like to refresh everyone's memory. When we're talking about legal service dog standards, generally we are speaking about the Americans with Disabilities Act, which is federal law. And Americans with Disabilities Act defines disability as the term disability means with respect to an individual, a physical or mental impairment that substantially limits one or more major life activities of such individual, b, a record of such an impairment, or c, being regarded as having such an impairment. A physical or mental impairment that substantially limits one or more major life activities. Again, per the ADA, major life activities include, but are not limited to, caring for oneself, performing manual tasks, seeing, hearing, eating, sleeping, walking, standing, lifting, bending, speaking, breathing, learning, reading, concentrating, thinking, communicating, and working. Your levels of just how impaired you are, as further than that, don't come into play here. What does is that your service dog is trained in a task that mitigates your specific disability. A service dog isn't a cure. Nowhere does it say that a handler must be accompanied by their service dog at all times. And isn't it, considering teams that do not have to be velcroed to each other for 24/7 as being less legitimate, isn't that taking a step backwards? If you could have the freedom to do something without your service dog with you, would you decide to do that or not? Would you rather do it independently, or would you rather be on the other end of a leash? Please don't be attacking teams that do not need to be together at all times, and instead respect that the person is making the effort to continue functioning without their service dog, either as a personal challenge or frankly through necessity. Another thing, not all service dogs are used for public access for various reasons. For some people, a stay-at-home service dog may be a better choice. For me, a barrier for me going with my service dog and training in public is the sheer amount of attention that we draw just by being a team, and the attention that people pay us. While he certainly helps me, the attention often seems to outweigh the benefits, and that's personal for me. For a person training a service dog to help them with an anxiety disorder, to go into public and find that their very service dog that is supposed to help them, just from the public, gets so much attention that is what their dog is, what they're even training them for, and it can be a trigger for the disorder. It may prove counterproductive to be receiving that attention, and that depends on the individual. So please respect everyone's differences in this regard. Also, many people have episodic disorders. At times they may have high levels of functioning, and other times they may have lower levels of functioning. So at some points they may need their service dog more than others. I consider, for me, my service dog to be another tool in my toolbox for dealing with chronic illness. My tools within this toolbox consist of different therapies, medications, coping mechanisms, and of course my SDIT. For example, if I'm having a panic attack and my SDIT is with me and he can do deep pressure therapy, that's great. It kicks in faster than medication, it makes my panic attacks shorter, and it's generally more effective for me. But if I'm in a situation where he's not with me, or it's just not practical for me to be with him, and I have a panic attack, I'm going to have to use another tool in my toolbox, and that may have drawbacks to it. For example, medication may make me too sleepy to really do anything for the next couple hours or drive. It may have certain medications can be addictive, and those are things that I generally want to avoid. But it's another tool that's in my toolbox to use in his absence. Everyone is different. To both the service dog community and the public, please keep in mind that just because a handler does not need their service dog with them at all times does not mean that they are not disabled or that they are a less legitimate team. A handler has the right to have their service dog accompany them while in public, but it is a right and not a requirement.